Alright, so we've made it to this part of the year, where I do my top worst and top 10 of the year. So for this video, this is what I'm drinking. Okay, so unlike last year's video and the one before it, this year's top worst of the year will be slightly different. Because I didn't see that many bad movies this year, like truly awful movies, I only saw like 2 that I could think of. I am going to talk about a list of 4 movies that everyone kind of really hated, and I personally kind of loved. So I'm going to talk about those movies, and then go to my list of 2 movies that I actually did not like this year. Okay, so the 4 movies that everyone else didn't really like, I'm going to start off with and explain why I liked them. Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, which I watched very recently. Okay, so I did not hate this movie. There's actually a lot that I loved about it. And everyone said that they had like problems with how overpowered Rey was, how what else? What did they say? Like, people were saying that they didn't like how it was kind of like a bad video game plot, how they were scavenging, like it was a scavenger hunt and they kept planet hopping and stuff like that. I didn't mind that part of the movie so much. I really liked this movie, okay? I liked it a lot more than The Last Jedi, and especially the more recent one as well, Solo. I fucking hated that one. I think that was the top worst movie of last year for my list. So yeah, Rise of Skywalker is not that bad. The next one is Terminator Dark Fate. In all honesty, actually no, that's the next one. But Terminator Dark Fate is an okay movie. There's a lot I liked about it. Fuck it, how many have I fucking had? I'm like, my words are slurring. I did not mind Terminator Dark Fate. I actually kinda liked it. There's a lot. Well, there's some parts in it that I really loved, and others that I just did not like. But Terminator Dark Fate, not that bad. As a Terminator film, it shouldn't really need to exist, but as a movie in general, it's fairly entertaining, like the one before it. The next one is Annabelle Comes Home. I really didn't mind this one either. This is probably on the list of the movies that I'm defending as not that bad. This one might be the worst. Annabelle Comes Home was not scary at all. It had barely any tension. It didn't have any tension. But where it lacked in tension, I thought it excelled in character. Like, there's one character in the movie who actually isn't even the main character, but she gets a lot of characterization in the movie. She gets a lot of story given to her, and I really like that character. There's a scene between her and Lorraine Warren. I can't remember the young character's name, but there's a scene with this character and Lorraine Warren that actually got me to cry. It was really good. I liked how much more emotional this Annabelle is to the others, because they were just, the first Annabelle was like shit, and and the second one was actually pretty good, but this one I would say I still respect as a movie, right? So the next one on my list of bad movies that I'm defending as not that bad is X-Men Dark Phoenix, which I really loved. On this list that I have just pulled out right out of my ass, I actually really loved X-Men The Dark Phoenix, or Dark Phoenix, whatever it's called. It's not the best X-Men movie, but I reckon it's still focused pretty well on its characters and a lot of the shit they had to go through. But that being said, like, Magneto does a complete 180, like, at the end of the movie, which doesn't really make sense for his character, but whatever. I still liked it anyway. It's a fun action movie where our heroes, who we have grown to, I have grown to know and appreciate, being portrayed by these actors. So why would I not love the shit that they get thrown into? I just think that this iteration of Dark Phoenix is way better than the first one we got with X-Men The Last Stand. Fuck that movie. I think this one's better. Anyway, moving on to my actual list. At the bottom of the 2 movie list is The Curse of La Llorona, which if you don't live in America, but you live in Australia, just for you Americans to know, it was known to us as The Curse of the Weeping Woman. The whole title was changed for us. And probably in the UK as well. I don't know, I thought that'd be an interesting fact. But I really did not like this as a film, and especially as a horror film, because there is a shot in this movie that still stands out to me as being the worst shot, and the only shot that I hated in the movie, where it kind of like pans in on the home and it's getting attacked, but it's like this twisting pan. Like, if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. This movie, The Curse of La Llorona, at times felt way too epic for a horror movie. And these epic scenes or shots don't really fit with the rest of the tone of the movie either. I don't know, I don't like this movie simply because it not only did it not scare me, I didn't give a shit about any of their characters, which is one thing I liked about Annabelle Comes Home. Speaking of, The Curse of La Llorona apparently takes place in the Conjuring universe. This feels like the Cloverfield Paradox. Do you guys remember that Netflix film that came out, I don't know, a year ago or a couple of years ago? It takes place in, like, the Cloverfield trilogy, but when you actually watch the Cloverfield Paradox, the third one in the supposed trilogy, it didn't feel like it fit. It didn't make sense to fit with the others. The Curse of La Llorona is exactly like that for the Conjuring movies. Alright, let's get on with the first one. What the fuck was that? Anyway, my number one hated movie of this year is Hellboy, which I did review. Thinking back on it now, there's not much that I genuinely hated about this movie, but as a film that someone, like, wrote, filmed, and fucking edited, this is possibly the worst one I've seen this year. I love horror, as I've expressed in this very video, but the horror aspects of this movie could not save this movie for me. I did not like it. None of it made sense. I mean, I watched the original Hellboy with Ron Perlman. That made more sense. That's how you do a Hellboy movie. I haven't even seen the second one yet, so don't spoil it. But I did not like this, no, I didn't like it at all. Not necessarily because it was so over the top and crazy and, like, hellish, which I don't mind, like, the hellish edge to a movie. I would prefer that for a movie called Hellboy. But I just think it didn't... The story was all over the place. Everything was all over the place. The only thing that was all right in this movie... Sorry. Oh, fuck. Anyway, as I was saying, the only thing that was alright in this movie was David Harbour as Hellboy himself. Is he as good as Ron Perlman? Fuck no. But I liked his performance, and that's it. And that's not saying much for an entire film. Like, the screenplay didn't make sense. It feels like... It doesn't feel like, okay? The character of Hellboy in this movie was just thrown into situation with no context at all, and then they try to have a story, like, at the end, like, halfway through like, no. No, like, it did not work for me. Anyway, so yeah, I need to say something, because, it's a very apparent issue in this video. I only had 2 movies this year that I actually hated, and then just, like, pulled some ridiculous, like, idea out of my head. Like, hey, why don't I defend the movies that everyone else hated? Come on. Even I admit I pulled that out of my ass. That's a stupid idea for a top worst of the year video, but I did it anyway because I wanted to have some sort of content for this video, and if I had just done the 2 movies, like, this video would be really fucking boring. So here's what I'm going to do. Next year, if I watch 5 movies next year, in 2020, and in the future, if I watch, in any given year, if I watch 5 movies that I genuinely hate, if I can come up with a list of 5 or more, then I'll do a top worst. But if I don't, from now on, I won't be doing a top worst list, because here's the thing. When I saw the trailer for Gemini Man, I knew it was gonna fucking suck. I don't know, I guess I don't want to prop myself up, but I can kind of see when a movie's gonna look shit from the trailer. I'm not the only one. I mean, did any of us really think that Gemini Man was gonna be good? I still haven't seen it, because I know it's shit. And then when I watch the reviews, It was shit! I knew it! Anyway, so, I guess I'll see you in my top 10 of the year. Which I'm... Oh, fuck. See ya!